Where does the pressure come from?
Pressure to make your family proud, your parents proud, to put in all the time and energy to get you there. You kind of flipped it more internally.
There's an actual equation for handling pressure. You hit a lot of it. So here's the equation.
I wish we had this conversation maybe in like the winter time, that whole pressure thing. Like, it's just task oriented, you know? Most of the time, if I can stick to those tasks, focus, it usually comes out well, but the times it doesn't, like.
How do you feel like team confidence impacts the actual performance of you and your team?
Like, if the confidence is low, I think you move slower. You are not dictating anything.
Half of us aren't confident, we're gonna lose. Like,
it's like a guarantee almost.
It's a guarantee. Yeah. Better question is, how do you build that confidence? There's 4 pillars of confidence.
Team confidence is definitely something that's top down. From a preparation level, from a process level.
The outcome is still to win. What's the best way to be able to get that? If a coach is listening, what's the best way that they can instill confidence in the player?
Player-coach relationship is like super underrated. They instill, I think, a lot of confidence in players, and they have the ability to take it away.
Welcome to the All Mental Podcast for Athletes. I'm your host, Charles, and while I am a licensed therapist, this podcast is not therapy. So if you do need therapy, please do find one inside your local area. USA All-American Honorable Mention, second team All-Patriot League, Division I, BU Lacrosse, Trey Brown. Welcome to the All Mental Podcast.
Thank you for having me, my man. Appreciate it.
All right, man. So it's going to be an amazing episode because I want to dive into the aspects of handling pressure. And I just talked about there's an actual equation for handling pressure, which I didn't talk about in the episode with Martha Lord, and also confidence and team confidence, because your sport specifically, that plays a massive role into it. So we're just going to dive on into things.
Let's do it.
And, you know, we talked about the championship loss, the back-to-back championship loss.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that holds a lot of pressure to it. So for you, I want to start off like this, because I think a lot of athletes struggle with this, and it's different for everyone. Where does the pressure come from? Is it like the moment? Is it like the fans? Is it like internal? Like for you, where does it stem from?
Yeah, the pressure, I'd say, stems from like internally most of the time. I mean, when it's 30 degrees out here, we don't have any fans, you know, kind of on Nickerson Field supporting us on. So it doesn't really come from them. You know, the coaches definitely, you know, pressure to make your family proud, your parents proud, to put in all the time and energy to get you there. Yeah, but mostly for me, it comes internally. You know, I've always kind of been my own biggest critic, put the pressure on me the most. You know, when people are telling me things are okay, you know, I'm kind of the one who's reprimanding myself.
Yeah.
But you know, from teammates, I wouldn't even say pressure comes from them, because, you know, they're on the field trying to do the same thing you are, sharing the same goals. So you kind of share that pressure, which is nice. But yeah, I mean, pressure on yourself to just play to the best of your ability at all times and perform the way that you know you can. You know, either if it's a Monday practice where it's light, or if it's a championship game on Sunday, you know, down at West Point. Just kind of having that pressure come from yourself, I think, is a good spot, because, you know, you keep it 100 with yourself, you know, you're not sugarcoating anything. You know, pressure makes diamonds, or, you know, burst pipes, whatever you want to say. But yeah, so I'd say my pressure probably comes internally the most.
Like, does it like shift per moment, like whether it's a championship game or whether it's practice or whether it's like a regular in-season game? Does that shift at all?
Yeah, I'd say like it's not even so much like the scenario of like you find yourself in. It's just like how are things going? You know, like we could be playing Duke, you know, at home. You know, that's huge pressure for the game, but we got a 3-goal, 4-goal cushion. It's like you take a breath for a second, that pressure eases off a little bit. But that can be a blessing and a curse, you know, like that pressure eases off a little bit, allows you to kind of take a step back, breathe, and, you know, like kind of check yourself. Or, you know, that pressure wanes off a little bit, and then you find yourself back in a dogfight because you got a little complacent. So I'd say just kind of handling the pressure, but not getting too high, not getting too low, just kind of staying even keel throughout it all is super important.
Yeah, and then like as your time from like freshman year to senior, because even freshman year you played a lot. So from freshman year to senior year, do you find like the pressure was different? Like as a freshman, were you like, the pressure is for me to be able to perform because I just got here, compared to where you were at senior year?
Yeah, for sure. It's a big reason why I chose to come to BU is the opportunity to play right away. You know, I played in every game that I've been here. And so I'd say honestly right away, the pressure was more external. You know, like you were a young guy, super impressionable from the coaches, from the older guys, and then, you know, parents too. And for me to come in and perform and then also perform as a team, like that pressure was on, like I feel like from my club coaches and like from my dad that were like, you should go to Maryland, you should go to Syracuse, all this stuff. And it's like, okay, now I'm here. Now I kind of got to prove like that this was the right decision. So I actually had a lot of pressure early on that was derived from that. But then, I think as I got older and kind of just kind of got a better flow with how things were going on, being a D1 athlete and stuff, like it kind of flipped it more internally because I think that was just the best for me to a place to like put that pressure on was coming from myself,
Rather than like external factors, it's difficult to control.
You can't control that, exactly, right? Like when it comes from yourself, you kind of, I always say like control the controllables, like when shit hits the fan, and just when it comes from yourself, you're kind of in more control and have more of a say on how things go. So,
and then how do you feel like that pressure impacted your game from like freshman year to where it was more external? How do you feel like that impacted your actual performance? And then junior, senior year, how do you feel like that impacted your performance?
I don't think it ever, some people it gets to them, and like you go look at Tommy Fleetwood, that dude can't handle pressure. He can't win a championship on the tour, and that's a bad example. But like for me, like I handled it as a good thing. Like the pressure would honestly help me like prepare more and be more focused and put more time and energy. So like when that pressure came, I felt more comfortable, like just with my preparation and everything. But like and the big moments with when the pressure's high, like you feel it creep up on you on your back, like the hairs raise up on the back of your neck. You're like, oh, I'm really in it now. Like this is the stuff I've been thinking about, and it's just kind of like taking a deep breath in and literally like Coach Poley always says like before you got games and stuff, 200 feet in front of us, like, we might have a big matchup that like 5 days away, but we got, we got a team today, like we're looking right in front of us. And so kind of taking that mentality onto the field, like 2 feet in front of me. Like I'm on the wing, I'm literally looking at my feet and I'm like, okay, I'm just ball. Like, keep it simple. Like if you can boil down that big pressure moment and just the task at hand, I think it takes a lot of it away. And, a lot of like Coach Rowlett says this all the time, but you're back on your high school field in your backyard, screwing around, just playing the game that you've always loved. And if you can kind of just take it back to that and get all the noise out of there, it makes things a lot easier.
All right, let's start talking about like strategies, because you mentioned a couple. So one of the things you said like really quickly was like how you imagine it. Like it didn't really impact you because like you were there and it's kind of how you imagine it. Do you feel like that plus preparation helps you be able to handle the pressure? Let's start with the imagining piece. Like what do you mean by that? Like how you imagine it?
Just like, it's like it's all about perspective, in my opinion. I keep alluding to the stuff my coaches say, but they always had really great things. Coach Filippo, he always talks about like how to be grateful for the opportunity that you have, and like at the end of the day, like it's just a game, right? Yeah. And also, like anytime it was a big game, he'd say, why is it a big game? And we would all say, because we're in it. You know what I mean? No other reason besides that we're in it. So. But the imagining thing, just like, I don't know, like taking a deep, like when the national anthem's going and it's before like a huge game, like I just take a big deep breath. I look around, I'm like, I'm with my best friends, like playing like a fun game. Like I get to go out there, I get to run, like I get to like hit somebody, like it's fun at the end of the day. And so just like imagining that, just like the simple things, like in the little things that you should be grateful for out of the scenario that you're in, I think is really good. And then the imagining thing of hey, I'm in my backyard, I've gone through this scenario a million times, even though there's been no one but imaginary players in my backyard. But it's like the same thing, and if you imagine it that way, it definitely just takes the pressure thing to a whole different level of how you can handle it.
So it's kind of like a couple different things. One is just changing the perspective of the moment, where it's like
you're in control of that. We talk about controlling the controllables. You can control your perspective and how you think about every situation. And I know it's easier said than done. And it took me years of practice to do it, but it works. Yeah, it works. I'm out there guarding Brendan O'Neill, maybe the best lacrosse player that's ever going to play lacrosse. And you just like take a deep breath and you're like, It's just me and another dude bleeds the same as me, like, you know, breathes the same air as me. It's just, you know, you just take it down a notch. So.
Yeah. And then the whole imagining piece is just like how you've imagined those scenarios and like what you're gonna do inside those scenarios. And I said did it as when you're in your backyard throughout your collegiate career. Did you do that too? Did you find space to imagine scenarios?
Like when I would come out and like screw around on the field like by myself, like, you know, with either if it was 9 p.m. or in between classes, like I would kind of have that same like internal dialogue, like, oh, like he gets the clear pass, like here he's going to transit, like, you know what I mean, like kind of just like screwing around, like having fun like that. But and then like I feel like lacrosse is such a sport where you can do that too. Like you can just kind of just like put yourself in like mental like scenarios and kind of just like play it out. It's just like I don't know why, but like I know I played multiple other sports. You can't do it the same like that. But like, you know, like all my teammates just did such a good job at like not only like doing that themselves, but just like bringing that like just nonchalant like energy kind of just like
energy. Cool. All right. So then what about, you mentioned like the physical aspect of it as far as how hard, I want to dive a bit more into nitty gritty, like how hard do you feel like you have to work per week to be able to enter that? Like if you feel like there's a week to where like maybe you're injured and you can't work as hard, do you feel like that impacts your ability to handle pressure at all?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you can always do more. Like unless you're like, I don't know, Superman, like you can always do more. So I think especially lacrosse is like defensively too, so scheme oriented. Like, so knowing the scheme and the film and the player scout and all that stuff is like the most preparation that you can do beyond physical. And that was a learning curve for me because early on, you know, it wasn't that important to me. And it showed how important it was when it came to playing on the field and stuff like that. And so later on in my career, you know, prioritizing the scheme stuff was huge for me and being prepared, which helped with the pressure because you don't need to think about what you're going to do. It's just second nature. Coach Lippo would always say, you got to let it hit. Just like you've done all the training, so you don't even got to think about it. It just hits itself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then physically, I mean, like I've always like prided myself on like being like the most physically ready for a game or practice or just whatever. My cardio could always been better, but like
I was watching, is like,
I was dogging it sometimes for sure. But like, just I love being up in the weight room. I like even if it's not lifting or like you doing like, you know, quick twitch muscle like workouts, just stretching, you know, just like kind of working out like the kinks like that you got, you know what I mean? So, and like especially with social media nowadays, like, you know, anything you want to find like to improve your body is out there. If it's from like growing, you know, getting stronger or you know, fixing something that's been bothering you or, you know, getting faster feet, getting more range of mobility in your hips, like it's all out there. You know, the fitness community and social media is like so legit because that's how it grows. That's how the fitness community grows, and that's how all these guys make their bread is through social media. Exactly.
You got coaches there, you got pro players.
Yeah, you got guys that are coaching Tyreek Hill and freaking Rashee Rice. Like that.
Like you try to do this, and you see like, oh, that's a similar, like the way, like obviously every body type is different per sport, but like, oh, the way they're moving is very similar to like how I move.
100%.
So like, what drills are they doing, and like, do I feel it there? Like what stretches too? It's like I feel. I don't know what the hell this muscle is called, but I feel it here. Like, what is that? What does that mean for me? It's like, how can I be able to stretch? How can I work that? So, like, from the physical aspect, how is it like a certain period of time to where you know you had to put in work? Was it just when practice was happening, just when like lifting was scheduled, or was it that you had to put in extra stuff on top of that?
I think to the best of your ability, you got to put extra work in on top. I mean, you know, the NCAA limits how much time you have organized with the team, but outside of that, there's no limit. And so, like I said, unless you're Superman and like you don't really need to, you got crazy genetics or like whatever, like you got to be in there doing the extra stuff. Like I would literally go on Instagram, like save stuff that I would scroll through in reels. And then I'd go up to the weight room and just try it out and just like, and then some stuff I would love and I would do it to this day. And then other stuff I was like, I don't even know what the hell I'm doing. But you got to put in the extra work. You got to.
Yeah, I think it's important
to compete at the highest level too. You have to do it.
I think it's important because like for your D1 at a big school that has a big budget, obviously.
Mhm.
But so it's like people look at that like, oh, you can just go to whatever training you want, and yeah, you can, but still knowing that even if you don't go to a major school, whether D2, D3, or you're in high school,
Yeah.
or you go to D1, but like it doesn't have all the best facilities or whatnot. Social media is still out there, where you can be able to really hone your skills at and
Mhm.
pick what you like and find what you like and be able to build from
100%.
that. All right, so let's dive into the equation piece. So here's the equation. You hit a lot of it. So the equation is
Okay,
pretty
good.
simplistic. So I never talked about this before in the podcast. I just read about it a couple weeks ago and dived into it. So essentially, the way it works is this. First, it's called the cognitive appraisal. Basically, so pressure hits, and that's why I asked you kind of where pressure comes from you, because all athletes is different. It might be like people in the crowd, it might be family members, it might be coaches, it might be your teammates, it might be internal. So wherever the pressure comes from for an athlete, the first thing they have a primary appraisal, which is like how they interpret it. There's 4 different ways people can interpret it. The first one is just, I forgot the terminology for that one. The first one is just like, I'm screwed. It's like you see it automatically as a failure. Pressure hits, I'm gonna mess up. There's no way, like I'm toast, which is like the worst thing. Second one is kind of a threat. So you view it as like, there's like 2 minutes left on the clock. We're down by 1. I have to make something happen. I'm not sure if I can make it happen. Like, what if I can't make it happen? You're not thinking you're gonna fail automatically, but it's just like the threat of
Negative.
of that negative aspect.
Yeah.
Then you have a challenge to where you see things as challenge. It's more like, all right, cool, I bet. Like, this is something that I can be able to overcome. It's a mountain that is climbable. And the last one is a benefit, to where it's like, it's pressure. Like, that's cool. It's fine with me. Like, I destroy everything in pressure.
Yeah.
Like, it's like the opposite from like the first one, where it's like,
Yeah.
it's a win for me already. And the second aspect of like how emotions kick into play. So whether you have negative emotions about it, whether you have positive emotions about it, so whether someone is anxious or nervous about that situation, or whether they view that situation and they're excited and happy for it, so and energetic for it, emotional piece. And the secondary appraisal, which is how we cope with that. So I'm gonna keep it simple. I'm gonna stick with 2. One is disengagement. So one is like in lacrosse case, you might be like, all right, like I'm gonna kick the ball away. Like, I don't want it.
Yeah, passing.
I'm passing it. I'm kicking it away. Or it's like, physical disengagement. Like, you run around from it. Like, you don't do what you're supposed to do. Basically, you go the opposite way. Try to get away from it. Or you have, make sure I get all the disengagement first. Like, I'm trying to think about other sports too, so I don't leave any other ones out. I think other ones is like mental disengagement. Like, I don't want to be here. I want to be somewhere else. Like, this is like too much pressure on me. And then the other one is task-oriented engagement, which you mentioned. Like, for you, it's like 2 feet ahead of you. You think like ball.
Yeah.
And every sport is different for like what the focus is, and then within every sport, depending on your position, is different.
Yeah.
So some people might, and then every person is different. So if it's defense and someone's in front of you, you might think like watch the hip movement, or someone might be like, I gotta watch their stick, or someone might be like, I gotta watch the ball, or some people gotta watch their feet.
Yeah.
And like it depends on what's like, whatever helps you defend best is like whatever you should do. And then if you're shooting the ball, like some people might focus on, like, I shoot best when I focus on where I'm trying to aim at the net, or I shoot best when I focus on like the ball, which is like across different because the ball's like out of your purview. But tennis might be like the ball's coming, I gotta focus on the ball. So it's like every sport is totally different. And then the last part of it is performance, like how it impacts performance. The answer to it is challenge is the best way to be able to appraise pressure. Emotion matters, but not as much. It's like statistically significant in some studies and not statistically significant in other studies. Depends. Overall, if you have a positive emotion, that's the best going to be for you. And then what really matters is like how you end up coping with that situation. So like having a task-oriented coping strategy for that pressure is going to be the best thing that actually equates to the best overall performance. So for you, like, how do you feel like you did that equation?
I'd say I was definitely like more towards the middle. I'd say probably challenged, which is good. Knowing that that's the best strategy. It's always like a challenge. But I don't know. I think like the emotion part of it, like you're always a little nervous, but like I've like was told this a while ago that the nerves in your body for nervousness and excitement are the same. So you just got to trick yourself that you're excited instead of nervous. So I've been doing that for a while. It actually works, which is crazy. Because like goes back to like just grateful, like how grateful am I to be in this pressure situation? Like someone would kill it to be right here, first of all. And then, but I'd say like the most of my focus when it comes to pressure is on the last aspect of it, which is what was it like that kind of like the action you take or whatever
task.
Yeah,
The
task.
task-oriented
Yeah, so
bit.
like my mind just goes to like task oriented, and I think it's important to note that like especially a team sport like lacrosse, like if I handle it this way, like I want everyone needs to be on the same page, especially like it doesn't really matter offense or defense. Like if I'm like cool, calm, and collected, like focus on the task, but then I have my guy who's supposed to be my one slide, or he's supposed to rotate behind me in this defense, and he's bugging, and he can't like and he can't focus on just that next task that he has to do so that we can reach our goal. Like it doesn't matter really much about what I think unless I'm going and taking this kid's cookies like from him. You know what I mean? So like it's getting everyone on the same page, I think, is super important for me when I'm out there, and I think that might be overlooked, especially in more of like a team sport.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd say I'm just super task oriented. The emotions that come with it aren't that significant for me, or just like kind of viewing it. I always view it as the same thing. It's not that, honestly, it's not that deep for me.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but like when we lost the championship, like it's sad. Like everyone cried, but like I didn't, because like I was so just grateful for like the time and that opportunity, and like you know beggars can't be choosers. Like I'm not a whiner. Like we got our ass kicked. Like yeah, I'm not gonna like it sucks, but you should have done something about it, right?
Yeah.
So like that whole pressure thing, like it's just task oriented, and if I can, most of the time, if I can stick to those tasks, focus, it usually comes out well. But the times it doesn't, like happens. It's like the law of polarity. You can't have happiness without sadness. You can't have success without failure. So some things are inevitable.
Yeah.
And so just like realizing that and just like coming to grips with it is just makes everything a lot easier.
Yeah. And it's not. I think it's. I think some people try to misconstrue that as like not having emotions,
Right.
which is not true. Like, and I'm a therapist, right? I'm supposed to be like. It's funny, as a therapist, as a social worker, we're seen as like being very emotional focused. Like everything's about emotions and whatnot. But I think that emotional piece. Let's go here. Let's dive a bit deeper into the formula bit. It's like, how do you train that, right? Or like, what strategies do you utilize to be able to get there? So just starting with the initial bit of like how you. I'll back up for a bit because I added it to the equation. I added a bit to it. So like in the conversation I had with Stonehill on Friday, like part of it was this aspect of pressure and handling pressure. The first thing I talked about, I changed up the equation a little bit, was that focus piece, which is like, how do you get to be inside the present moment? Because with pressure, I feel like, and for them, talking with them, we did a couple of different surveys, and what they found was that, it's interesting, like if you surveyed your team, like where people's confidence comes from, like how that impacts them, like what how they feel like. And for that team, it was interesting because it was like mistakes happen. And then from those mistakes, when you feel that mistake, do you feel pressure from that? Like, do the mistakes then generate pressure? Like, you have the initial pressure you have from wherever it comes from, but then if you make a mistake, how does that impact your pressure? And then from that pressure, then really, I think what happens mentally is people either think about what happened before, what's going to happen after.
Yeah.
Like, this just happened. Like, I messed this up for my team. Like, it's going the other way. They scored a goal, whatever the case may be. And then now, the next time it happens, what's going to happen next?
Yeah.
And then your mind is anywhere from being on the present moment.
Exactly.
So it's like, how do you end up, first and foremost, training your mind to be inside the present moment on a regular basis?
Yeah.
So I think that's important.
Yeah, definitely. I think that comes outside of the field. Like that's a mentality and a way of thinking that's like every day of life, way beyond the game that we play. So I think it starts there, and it's like training. It's like a habit almost.
Yeah.
But yeah, kind of like, I mean, you see it even myself. Like, pressure's on. The first couple moments in that pressure, doesn't something bad happens either as a team or individually, like you can spiral like fast and bad, and then now you're in a hole that you can't dig yourself out of. It's too late, and then that's that. So kind of just I'd say that like when big pressure like moments, those first couple instances are super important so you don't get to that point.
Mhm.
But I think that staying in the present and because like I don't know the statistic, but it's like a certain percentage of the worries that you have in the future never even come true, or never even like
Mhm.
formulate to like happening, right? So um just not worrying about that and taking things as it comes, especially like you know something could happen in the game that you had no control over, right?
Yeah.
Like which we've kind of been talking about. So like acknowledging that, but yeah, I think all that thought process and that way of thinking, which is super important, comes way before the field, way outside of the field. And it's literally training, just like you
Yeah.
would physically or schematically, like that. The way of thinking and
Mhm.
situations is train. You have to train yourself to do that.
How do you train that? Like, I get like the concrete aspect of it. Of the more prep you have, the better you feel about it. But how
Yeah.
do you train this? Make sure you stay in the present moment. Like, what things do you do for that?
Just like I think it just starts with like recognizing it. So like in like different aspects of life, like if it's school or socially or athletically or for your job, like when you have like a worry creep in, like recognize it, like take a step back and be like, okay, what can I control now to either mitigate that worry from ever happening or
Yeah.
just to address it now? Because like anxiety and all that stuff, like a lot of it stems from inaction. Like
Mhm.
if you take action, then you solve so many of the emotions that come to like pressure and anxiety and stuff like that. Um, so yeah, I would say just little things like boiling it down to like this, even like if it could be the stupidest thing.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
no one knows but you, right?
Mhm.
So but just like boiling it down and like just repetition, like in training it, like you know this morning I was it was my first podcast. I was a little nervous, but I was
Mhm.
like, it was 10:15. I was like, I haven't eaten today. I'm gonna go get some food. I'm gonna get a peach iced tea. I'm gonna be
Nice.
chilling. Like, yeah,
You
like,
be good.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
be
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I need to get my day going. So yeah, but yeah, I don't know, just trying to find ways that it fits in your life and
Yeah.
just recognizing it first, because the way of life, it's so fast and rapid. You might not even have time to realize it, but just kind of making a emphasis on that.
Yeah, I think that's important too. So, like, the different strategies and every athlete's a bit different. I think it's kind of like if you know what the system is, then you can kind of mold it to how you want it. So, self talk, it sounds like for you is like, all right, what can I do now?
Mm-hmm.
I need to be talking about it a lot too. Like, what can I control in this very moment?
Mm-hmm.
So, regardless of what's going on, it's getting back to the present. Self talk is one, grounding is another one, which depends on the sport. Could be grounding, could be really good or not. Your sport is fluid.
Yeah.
So it's like to ground yourself by sight is really hard. Like for tennis,
I'm gonna say tennis has got to be real.
yeah, tennis,
Yeah.
grounding, baseball, tennis. Those you have time in between every single play. So it's like one coach was like, for me when I used to play baseball, and in between every play there'd be like a light post, and I would look at the light post. And like, all right, that light post is right there. There's where it's at. Like that's how I ground myself to be back to the present
Mm-hmm.
moment. Grounding is probably one of the best strategies when anxiety, when nerves come about. Like so much so that as a therapist, if someone's having a panic attack, like like a legit panic attack, like
Mm-hmm.
disassociative, crazy fast breathing, heart rate's off the charts, like they don't know where they are in the present moment. Like you could tell, like they have no clue where they're at. Like they're sweating, they're rocking. The best way to get someone back to that is literally, here's an ice cube. How does that feel? Feel that it's wet.
Like focus
Feel that
on
it's
it. Yeah.
cold. Focus on like literally what's happening. Like what do you see? And then you can see them coming back very, very slowly. Like they like start to actually touch the ice cube or like the shirt. Like what does your shirt feel like? What color is your shirt? They start getting colors. I'm like, all right, they're back. Like look at every single red thing inside of the room. That's the best way to get someone back that's having
It's good to know.
a full blown panic attack,
Yeah.
like full blown. So if it works for that, when it comes to sports and it's just like pressure, is grounding is extremely useful. Again, like depending on your sport, like you might be able to use touch. Actually, I got everyone like wristbands at Stonehill that have like they're engraved and they have sayings on them. So for everyone, it's a bit different. One of them is like embrace it all. So like the engraving bit. If you're a field hockey player, like I guess lacrosse too, if the ball's on the other side, and
Yeah.
you know what's coming
Yeah.
down to you, like you can see it. Like you got a couple of seconds before it gets to you.
Yeah.
So you can be able to like touch something or touch your stick or whatever, and that's going to ground you in the present moment.
I like
And then
that.
from there, it's like you can still use self talk too. Like, all right, here comes like right now, right now. And from there, it's like that challenge process for you. You see nerves, you take the nerves, you turn that into excitement.
Mm-hmm.
That's called cognitive reframing. It's like an
Mhm.
actual therapy
Okay,
skill.
cool.
It's like
Yeah.
you take the thought process and you reframe it into something that is useful or positive. So it's balls come in, ground yourself. Like right now, here we go. I want it. I want you to come to my side. Like,
Yeah.
don't go that side. Come to my side.
Yeah.
And so embracing that, like that's that challenge piece.
Yeah.
Or it's like if it's benefit, it's like, oh cool, it's 2 minutes left in the game. Like I dominate with 2 minutes left.
Mhm.
Please come to my side. I
Yeah.
want you there. So you can use cognitive reframing. You can use we didn't get there yet, but like when we talk about confidence, if you're like very much on the physical, oh yeah, actually kind of get there. So the fact that you watch a ton of tape, a ton of film, and that sounds like that helps your confidence on the field
Big
as
time.
well as training a lot. It's like I don't want you to come this way. I watch as much film as I can watch on this team. I know what play they're gonna probably be running. I know what scheme they're running. So yeah, come this way. I know how to be able to break
Yeah.
that scheme. So you're using your what would be called physical confidence, your preparation confidence to be able to help you see something as a challenge. Or another way, it's like 6 different ways. Like if I had the actual graph in front of me, like I laid out as many as I definitely can.
Mhm.
And then you also have like the emotional piece about it. It's like regardless of your emotion. Like doesn't matter how I feel, what do I need to do to be able to respond to this?
Yeah.
And then you get to the task oriented piece, which is like for you might be like, what is your focus when someone's like coming down the field? Like what do you end up focusing on for you? Like what helps you defend best?
Well, I mean, yeah, like just being cautious of my surroundings. Like, I mean, if it's like transition, it's coming down fast. That's like probably the most unpredictable part of the game, because it's literally just like free for all, like freelance. Like you know, there's no. There might be like a drawn, like pass down, pick down, like something like that. But yeah, just kind of like I don't know, just especially playing defense, like super reactionary. But you can be like proactive about it, and like you know, like the best defensemen have the best anticipation. So like just kind of like thinking about okay, like what can I anticipate right now? Kind of seeing like the way that the ball carrier's moving, the way that my guy's moving. But honestly, just being like lightning fast reactionary speed is the best way to handle that. Like when the ball's coming down, when it's more set, you kind of have more control about like you're kind of more in like the scheme part of things.
Yeah.
So just falling back on that, and I'd say the biggest thing, honestly, it's communication. You know, like especially like playing team defense. Communicating is like the most important thing. So if you can, and especially like when you're out there like with your boys, like it doesn't even need to be like so structured. Like it can be literally like, yo, like Connor, like you're like ready, like repeat, like watch this, like you might be doing this, like just have like a conversation. So I'd say like communicating and just being like reactionary is the best way.
Is there anything like you focus on like physically with the opponent that helps you like defend the best in that situation? Like where do your eyes go? Like where does your mind
Yeah,
go
I
when
mean
you're
like
looking at-
defender like hips, hips, eyes, stick, but you can get super deceptive with all that if you're a good offensive guy. Biggest thing is the hips. Hips never lie.
Yeah.
Stick can lie, the head can lie, but the hips will usually always stay the same. So yeah, I'd say that's probably the biggest physical thing that I focus on. And then kind of just like it's kind of like a formula, like anything else, like just taking all that input and then just kind of solving it in your head fast.
Yeah. Like where like peripherally, like where are they at? Where's their teammates at? Where's my teammates at? What's the scheme at? Where are we at in the game? Are they up? Are they down? If they're down, they're probably going to be pressed.
Exactly, that's a great point.
Chilling, like, they're going to be whatever. Like they're going to swing it, going to wait for something, and then. But I think like that piece of that physical piece, every athlete should know what it is. Like you know, some athletes, it's like, all right, when you shoot, what do you focus on? Like I don't know.
Yeah,
like, you got to find out what that is.
Yeah,
because at times when emotions are all over the place, pressure's high. If you don't know what, at least what you need to focus on, what's going to at least make the best result, it's going to be difficult to be task oriented. So that's like the full equation of like grounding yourself, using whether it's grounding techniques, self-talk, seeing things as a challenge, whether it's based on your preparation, whether it's based on cognitive reframing, or whether it's just based on probably those two. And then what is your task oriented? It's like what are the best ways to be able to handle pressure in those moments. I want to dive into, I think, like the next bit of it, which is like team confidence, like and how that plays a role in the ability to be able to you perform, but then also like how the team performs. Like because you know with lacrosse, I feel like it's a really big team sport. You all play off of each other and for that. So for you, let's just start there. What do you feel like? How do you feel like team confidence impacts the actual performance of you and your team?
I think a lot, especially the first like 5 minutes of a game. Team confidence is definitely something that's top down. Starts with the coaches and the leaders, and then trickles all the way down. Like that pre-game right before you go out, like talk in the locker room, like that's huge. Like that's got to be good. It doesn't have to be, but the better it is, the more confident you go out.
Yeah.
Team confidence, like I think a good week of practice is huge, especially like for us at least. Like if we had a good week of practice, we felt good like going into the game. And then, if we had kind of a midweek practice, we still felt good, but I don't know, it's a little different.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would just say like it's top down, verbally being like confident and like hyping guys up. Just like the kind of like the way you talk to everyone, but also you got to show it too. Like if I'm sprinting full speed off the wing on the first faceoff, like that shows a lot more like kind of confidence than being like super like scared and being like super reactionary and letting the other team dictate like kind of like how things are going. But yeah, team confidence, like I don't know, it's like everyone's personal confidence built up like in like to one big thing. So like that film part of things, the schematic part of things is huge. And yeah, I mean it's just like believing like like you're the best team out there, like you're the better team, I think is huge. And also like just that you have your 50 guys versus their 50 guys, like you take yours every time kind of deal. Like that's kind of what we built our confidence off of. We were like ours versus yours, like we're taking ours every day.
So you feel like confidence plays a role too. Like if the confidence is low, that impacts the actual like speed of the team. Like
like you're moving slow. Like if the confidence is low, I think you move slower. Like you know what I mean. And I think we like talked a lot about like the reactionary things. Like you just react. Like you are not dictating anything. Like you are just reacting to what the other team's doing, and like I mean, it can get ugly fast. I mean, lacrosse is a game too. It's like make it take it. Like like if you get 3 on your head and then they go win another face off, like that's like a 4-goal run and it could be in 2 minutes. Like what I mean. Yeah. So it can compound really fast. And confidence, I think, is on a spectrum too, or more like a scale. Like you can start high and then it can go low and then come back up. So kind of like recognizing that and like feeding off that high confidence, and then when it gets low, like bringing it back up, because it's a 60-minute game, a lot of whistles, so it's like I've been in games, I felt like freaking 4 hours, like, so there's a lot of time for things to fluctuate. So just to keeping that steady, place that benefits you and the team.
I think that's important. I think like the two things. One, you're talking about how like confidence actually makes you move slower, or a lack of confidence makes you move slower. Like, why do you think that is?
I just think it's just like the mind to muscle, like kind of like relationship. I don't know exactly what it could be, but you're just like, you're not thinking about what you're going to do because you're so confident in that like side of things that it's subconscious. You're not even thinking about it. Like you're just going.
Good shit.
Yeah,
good shit.
Exactly.
That's good shit right there.
You got to let it hit. As Coach Libo says, like you're so prepared that you just go out there and just ball. Like you're just going.
I think that's what it is. It's that mind muscle connection, because like I think what it is, like confidence is a mental thing. It's a mental construct. If confidence is low, then like you're second guessing yourself. Like, do I start out, when you said like you start the gate fast, you know where you're trying to go. I know I need to get here. This is what our scheme is. This is how we set it up. If it's low, then it's, do I make this pass here? Do I run it for a little bit? Or what do I do? And that, even if it's a split second, that makes the muscles move slow.
Like giving yourself latency.
You're giving yourself latency. You got lag.
Yeah, you're literally.
You got lag, and you hesitate, and then that hesitation creates mistakes, because then it's like, oh, I have a lane here. Do I pass it? Do I not? Oh yeah, I think I should pass it. But by the time you took that half a second, that opponent sees that lane too, and if they have confidence and they're like, lane, I'm going to it. That's how you get the ball taken away from you.
That's a good point.
And that's how that all interflows. And then from a team sport, it's like you mentioned, like if your guy is freaking out, but you have confidence, but the ball's over there, you can't do anything about that. But then now if you're like, I gotta go cover him, you go cover him. Now your spot's messed up.
Right.
So if everyone's not on the same page, it breaks down. Now the better question is like, where does the confidence come from? And then how do you build that confidence? Like you mentioned that it's stable on a team level, because everyone has their own individual confidence. You can build that. But on a team level, how do you make sure it's stable? And there's 4 pillars of confidence. There's 5. The 5th one is self-regulation, which is like, how do you make it stable? Skip that one.
Okay.
For now. It's important, it's just like not as concrete. So the 4 is physical, which you kind of talked about already, like the preparation, whether it's, and team confidence is different. So it'd be interesting. So like preparation as far as like strength training, agility, film room, nutrition, sleep, that's physical. Process is trusting the process, which on a team level is schematics. Like, do we trust the game plan? Do we trust our scheme? Do we trust the players that we have? Do we trust that? Because coach might be like, hey, for the first half, I want y'all to do this. And if you're an attacker, if you're like, hey, like this is my spot I should be shooting from. Why is coach telling me to swing it still? Like that doesn't make any sense. I don't want to shoot it. Coach, the process might be like, I want you to swing it. So second half, when everyone's going that way, continue to swing it, then you can shoot it.
Yeah.
But if you don't trust that process, you mess it up, and coach is yelling at you like, "What are you? Like, I'm supposed to be shooting it." Like, no, you idiot! Like, I want you to swing it because this is what the game plan is. And then you also have the other 2, which is outcome. Like, do we believe that we can win the game or not? And then the other one is performance, which is based on how we performed previously is going to impact how we're going to perform today.
Yeah.
So from those 4, from process, from physical, from outcome, from performance, which ones do you think, out of those 4, which one do you think is most important to actually performing best?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Or what helped y'all perform best from your experience?
I would say, was preparation one of them?
Yeah, that would be like under physical.
Yeah, physical and outcome. Being physical. Well, lacrosse is a sport where it's like, you see some of the best kids that are out there, like they're like 5'7", like $160, not much muscle, but they're just dogs. Like you know what I mean? Like they're not like the most physically imposing dudes, but they're just really freaking good lacrosse players because they got not just like that mental side of things and just a skill set. So like that kind of physical thing is like, man, like I was one of the bigger dudes on the team as a freshman. You know what I mean? So like I think. Yeah, the preparation thing's huge. Like scheme's huge. Process, like trusting your coaches, everything. And then, we talked about that, I feel like. But then the outcome-driven thing, like when a team gets cold, I feel like in lacrosse too, like you're cold. You know what I mean? And like I don't know what it is, but it gets to you in the team. And then also like going in every game, like we can win this game, like right, like my 50 versus your 50.
Yeah.
Also like when. A thing I said earlier, Coach Slippo, why is it a big game? Because we're in it. And so like he would say that like before the game, at halftime, like huddle in the 4th, like you know what I mean. So like reiterating that message. So I think after thinking about it a little bit more, the outcome is huge. If you can't believe if you don't believe you can win in the first place, I mean you're screwed. Like you're putting yourself at such a disadvantage. Like if you don't even believe that you have a chance. And I would see that. And throughout my 4 years, like there were some games and there were some kids, and it's natural. I mean, we never got mad at anyone, but they didn't believe we could win. And like that's the cancer. Like that's so toxic. And if that's like becomes, 1 kid turns to 5 kids, turns to 10 kids, like I mean you're at a huge disadvantage. So I think really believing in the best outcome possible until it's slim to no chance and slim locked out the door. Like like until there's no chance, like you gotta believe. You gotta. It's trick yourself at least. You know what I mean? Fake it till you make it.
See, the thing is like that's my issue with outcome confidence. Like that flimsiness is my issue. And on a team sport, that's like further my issue because it's like you can have confidence. Like we're down 3. You're like, I've been in a situation where I've been back before. You might have like a sophomore or someone in the field, or even a senior that's like, I don't know. You see it, and it's like, if half of us aren't confident, we're going to lose. Like, we're going to lose. Like, if half of us aren't confident we're going to win the game, yes, we're going to lose.
It's like a guarantee almost.
It's a guarantee. And that is my issue with outcome confidence because it's so flimsy. And it's like, if you're down by halftime, does that mean you stop trying?
No.
Like, I think it comes down to, we kind of mentioned this before too, is like mental self-discipline. regardless of my emotions, what's the best thing to be able to help me with the outcome that I want?
Mm-hmm.
The outcome is to win. I'm not gonna, it's not saying you don't want to win. The outcome is still to win. What's the best way to be able to get that win? One is believing in your teammates, believing in all the preparation that you have, and believing in your scheme, believing in the process, and knowing and understanding that throughout the game, mistakes are going to happen. How many 0-0 games are there? And even in a 0-0 game, it's probably not a perfect game because it probably means both players or both people on the team made mistakes and didn't capitalize on opportunities, and that's why it's 0-0.
Yeah.
A shit ton of mistakes were made. So if someone has an outcome confidence, if a team has an outcome confidence, you're facing a team that's higher ranked than you, you're going to go into the game thinking you're going to lose.
100%.
And then you start out the gate slow, and then you get behind, and you lose. I think the most important if I could push people, I would say process and physical.
Mm-hmm.
I think performance is bad too, just because it's if you play bad in practice, does that mean you're going to not try and game? That's also stupid. You're probably going to lose.
Yeah.
If you don't think you can win, but you think you can win at halftime, but it goes away at halftime, you're probably going to play worse. It's all about what gives you the best performance. I think on a team level, that process piece, the team knowing what the process is, and even if you have a program that isn't a good program, that struggles and you're trying to get it to be better, that process might look completely different than a team that is a really strong program that gets back to back into the championships.
Right.
So that process might be we might lose, but even in the preseason, oh, they're gone now.
Yeah.
But the girls were out there before. What is their understanding of what that process is like for them being out there? As preseason, is it for them to figure out what are my strengths right now? What is our team strengths? We got new players coming in. How do we gel? What do we need to work on? So if the coach is thinking process in that sense in the pregame, and that's I'm putting them out there early. But then the teammate is thinking I just want to I'm worried about my own specific performance. That's two different wavelengths.
Yeah.
And then when the teammate messes up, they get mad at their teammate I'm passing the ball and you keep on missing. The coach is that's fine because it's a part of the process.
Right.
We're trying to figure out how can you all both be on the same page.
Right.
You're worried about performance, and that's not going to help us win.
No.
So now you don't trust that person. So now in game day, now you don't pass them, or you pass to them twice, and you miss it twice, and now you stop passing to them, which messes up my whole scheme of I want this to happen, so this opens up other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the question is how, if you want to roll with my idea of process and physical. What do you think is the best way for teams to be able to build that type of confidence?
Yeah, well, being on the same page for sure.
Yeah.
From the confidence thing that we're talking about now to earlier when we were talking about that handling pressure, got to be on the same page, especially in such a team sport.
How do you think a team should get there? What actual things?
Communicating for sure. When there's any doubt or any gray area, talking through it, I think is huge. And speaking up, not only if you have a concern, but if you ever have any doubt that people aren't on the same page. And just I think it's I think it's just a process in building it too. You're not gonna say something and everyone's gonna be 100% confident. It's a slow process. For us, our seasons in the spring, all this stuff starts in the September 1st, when we have our first practice. So building it the correct way, maybe you have a phrase or a word or something that kind of everyone unites around and it kind of brings you back to oh yeah, that's what we're about. You know what I mean? I think that can be huge for teams. But yeah, the team confidence, it's just they're focusing on the process and the physical side of things. Every practice, either dressing in a certain way or having a certain mindset when you go into it. And then the physical thing, I mean, yeah, especially as a defense, you can watch film on your own, but we watch everything really together.
Yeah.
And we'll have group chat, me and the other starting defensemen. It's any question, anything that you need to say or anything that comes in mind, you need to say it. You know what I mean? So we can build that confidence going into the game plan. So I think there's a lot of ways to do it. And just also don't be kind of blind and don't shut your ears off to other people. You might have a certain way of doing it and building your confidence, the team confidence, but someone else might have a really good idea that's going to work. So just taking the best from everyone and pulling all that together. think it'll find yourself in a good spot.
I think we're getting. I want to dig a bit deeper in it too, but I think like the communication bit you talked about, like on practice, in practice, like what does that look like? Is it that like if a play goes wrong, if a play goes right, are you like do you have that opportunity to pause in practice and have that bit of communication before something else?
It depends on like what the drill is, but you usually have a second. And like also like practice, like it's practice, like don't take it too seriously, but at the same time, like don't like completely dismiss it too. It's like it's easy in practice to just be like throw your hands up and like kind of just like be done with it, but like address it, like interact with what just happened, kind of. But you usually have time to react here and there. I mean, like defensively, we're not scoring the goals or anything. We're just stopping the ball. So like getting excited over the little things, like over a good ground ball or a good takeaway, or when the goalie makes a great save, like goalie confidence. That's a whole. You should have a podcast with the goalies just about that, because that's just a freaking whole different world of confidence. But making sure your goalie stays up, and when things go bad, like walking up to him and like talk about like dinner later. Like you gotta take his mind off of. You need goldfish memory as a goalie. Yeah. So that's a huge, because the goal is a huge part of the defense. Right. So, but yeah, just like acknowledging it, and I don't know, not too right, not too high, not too low. Yeah. And just kind of like going back to what I said earlier, just building it the right way. I don't know what it looks like. Could be different for everyone, but
but I think like overall that process piece is one of the best ways to build it. I mean, for example, like the Philadelphia Eagles, they just won the Super Bowl. Yeah. Jalen Hurts every press conference is like, we're still trying to figure out what our identity is. We're still trying to be able to like the offense is the same offense. They just have a new OC who was there, still on the team. Yeah. The defense is different, but there's like we're just trying to figure out what their process is. 2 years ago when they were like 6-0, 7-0, they're like just trying to figure out what our identity is. It's always a process mindset. So like in those types of situations, like having those conversations on the practice field instead of being like throwing their hands up, like this is even if it's not game time. Instead of like throwing your hands up and like, hey, like what did you see there? Yeah. Like this is what I saw. This happens, that happens. All right, cool. And with the goalie, it's like, how do you like when we defend? Like, what is best for you? What helps you to be able to, if they take a shot on goal, make the save? It's like, when y'all do this, like this actually helps me a lot. So having those conversations in the process builds that physical confidence. So like in game, I know if I do this, it's going to help my goalie out. Yeah. And like even though defense doesn't score goals, defense dictates goals because if you play defense, you'll be able to get a lot of ground balls and send a lot of things back that way. They're going to score more goals.
Exactly. More opportunities for us.
If they're able to, like, if they're down on your side of the field for a long period of time, like, your team can't score goals and vice versa. If the offense is able to take control of the clock and be down there, that's going to help your defense out. So it's so tough if, like, the balls are constantly coming your way and you're like, yo, offense, I need y'all to hold some down there. Like, that makes a big difference. So I think, like, that's what I mean by process. Like, yes, understanding schematics. Yes, coach talking about this is our process at a team, but like even during practice, like keeping that mindset, like stuff happened, mistakes happened, the process is figuring out. In the film room, like this mistake happened, like what do we need to do to figure that out? You mentioned like the group chat, texting each other is like that's that process. But like we're figuring out and we're building trust. I think the physical piece too is like in the weight room, are you paying attention to your teammates and what they're doing and how they're working out, like what their work ethic is? And, and when you guys are having like group chats or dinner or conversations, like that is all the physical aspect of building trust of like, hey, I know Trey. Trey works hard. Trey's inside the gym on an extra bit. Trey is out there at 9 p.m. like running around. So even if I'm a player that parties a whole bunch and you're like, yo, Charles parties a lot. Like I'm like, Charles, you want to come work out with me? I'm like, nah, I want to go hit this party up. As a teammate, not judging, like maybe they're Dennis Rodman and maybe they need to relax to be able to play well on game day. Maybe they are just like blowing things off and like living the college lifestyle. But at the very least, I at least know I have trust in you because you work out a ton. Yeah. So if the ball comes in, like I trust Trey. Trey has good work ethic. Like I know I don't. But I know Trey does. So I think for college athletes, is on an individual level, ways to be able to build confidence and team conferences, going to team events, hanging out with the team, trying to be able to like, and then the process side is like be process oriented about how do we get better as a team. And then also too, if you're defense, doesn't mean you don't talk to offense. Right. Talk to offense too. They got to be able to trust you back there. Yep. They're like, I don't trust the defense back there. We're going to try to take as many shots on goal as possible because like they can't hold shit. So we got to do. That messes up their stuff too. Cool. 100%. All right. And the last thing, I want to talk about is like individual confidence. That's team confidence. I think that plays a big role. Oh, one thing I want to say about team confidence too is like players and coaches relationship. Do you feel like that helped you if your coach talked to you about what the process, what his version of the process was for you? Do you feel like that helped you at all?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I think like player coach relationship is like super underrated because like they instill I think a lot of confidence in players and they have the ability to take it away. I think more than anyone based on playing time or the way that they speak to you or it's like you get benched like there goes your confidence, right? So I think that's super important. But yeah, like just picking you up when things go bad or like like I would not like do something the way that I envisioned it, and then Coach Rowe would be like, "I don't know what you're talking about. Like that was great. Like that's exactly what I needed out of you." And like, look what happened. Like something good happened. But so like stuff like that, and then like helping your individual and team confidence from a preparation level, from a process level, having them be a part of that process and having them like sometimes the biggest piece of confidence that I get like from my coordinator isn't like really anything that he's saying is just it's more so assuring like my thought process in what I'm thinking about schematically or more on like a just personal level just being there to reassure like like you're right, like this is what we're doing, like this is what I want you to do, like you're thinking about it the right way, like you're doing the right things, so keep doing it. So stuff like that.
Do you ever have like during your time, do you ever have like one-on-one conversations with coach, like coaches meeting, like one-on-one individual, and how do those meetings help you or hinder you? What's the best thing for like a coach, like if a coach is listening, what's the best way that they can instill confidence in a player like in those one-on-one meetings?
I'd say just like acknowledging all of like their efforts, but also like just like kind of what they're good at and kind of like focusing on that and like acknowledging that like hey, like you are like really good at certain things. Some players it might be easy because they're good at everything, but some players it might be harder, but kind of like gassing that part of themselves up, pumping their tires there, and then just like I'd say like keeping it real is pretty good. I mean, it depends on the player and like that as a coach, that's your job to like kind of know how like different players are personally. But like I like keeping it like just keeping it real. Like don't like beat around the bush like with me because like I know. You know what I mean? Like I know, and I know what you know, and I know what you know that I know. You know what I mean? Like so, it's like
I know my stamina wasn't great.
Yeah, exactly. Like and so, and just I don't know, just don't be a dick. Like I mean, like at the end of the day, like it's usually one big family if it's a good culture, and like go home, you go to bed, like you had dinner, like you hang with family, like it's a lot. It's a lot more than just the game. So we're all humans. So.
Yeah, I think like going back to process, I think process is probably the most important thing is like, I sound like in those, even if it's like a one-on-one meeting or even those many conversations with coaches, understanding from him of, okay, that's the process you're looking for. Like I am headed in the right direction. All right, cool. It feels like, no, it's completely wrong. It's not what I want. And you're like, okay.
Yeah.
And if he doesn't tell you how,
exactly.
It's just like, if you get benched and nothing comes from, like if no one has a conversation and then like that's going to destroy your confidence and that's going to make you second guess everything. So I think a coach has a big power in that sense of if you are going to bench a player, it's like, look, first of all, the player should already know what the process for them is. Should already know expectations.
You gotta be transparent.
If they're not meeting them, it's like, hey, look, Trey, like you're not meeting X, Y, and Z. I'm going to have to bench you because it's hurting the performance of the overall team on the field. By benching for you, in that benching, I want you to watch to see like what happens. Watch it, like look to see like what's going on, to see how things can be better, and like maybe it's like when there's a fast break, like that's where it's crushing us. Is you're causing fast breaks. Like when those happen, I want you to see how things transpire. I want you to like, listen to me as a coach. I want you to be next to me, so when I'm talking to the team, you can hear what I'm saying, so you can get my process. And then in practice, I want you to do this. When I do put you back in the game, even if you're not starting anymore, that's what I'm looking for. So then you know what to work on. But if you just get benched and nothing comes from it, you don't know the process of it, that's when you stop trying for it. Like same pillars are the same. Process, physical, outcome, performance. As an individual, where do you think your confidence came from? I know you mentioned like initially you had all the external pressures from family, from coaches, from everything else, and then eventually it became more internal. Where do you think your confidence came from?
Yeah. That's a hard one because like I don't honestly really know personally.
Mm-hmm.
I've always been like fairly confident and like assured of like myself and like my actions. Just kind of like believing you're the guy.
Mm.
Like even if you're not the guy, like
Yeah.
just like trick yourself and then like
Mm-hmm.
being like I'm that guy. Like and so um and also just like working your ass off. Like I think that's the easiest way.
Yeah.
I don't think there's, everyone's different. I don't think there's any right way, but that's the easiest way
Yeah.
is just to be so like locked in mentally and physically that like there's because that's how you just eliminate doubt, right? And like
Yeah.
that's what kills confidence is doubt and stuff like that. So just like find ways to kill that doubt and address it and take action against it to build the confidence on the other side of it. And just surround yourself with people who will make you confident. I think is huge. Like surround yourself with people that like are gonna push you in that direction and gas you up, and then also be like give you good criticism, but like that you're telling yourself you're the guy, and then you want people that are also telling you that. So I think that's huge too. But I don't know. I think it's different for everyone,
Yeah.
but just figure out what it is, and go all in on it, and just I think work your butt off, and you'll find yourself in a pretty confident spot. Even if you're not naturally a confident person, I just think that's how you get there.
I think you do now. I mean, sounds like yours is physical. Like physical confidence is like you're like it can be multiple different domains too. Because it sounds like you have like a social component in there, like people around you, being around good people. But it sounds like yours is physical. I think it's a great one because it's very controllable.
Yeah.
If you mess up at something, you lack confidence in this particular area of your game, solution is you just go practice it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not confident in this. I'm just gonna like practice the hell out of this until I get better at it, and then it becomes more automatic, and that builds my confidence. And like it's very simplistic. I think a lot of athletes have physical. I think if one is just understanding, like the same thing you talked about, if you understand your emotions and you're better able to deal with them, if you understand when your confidence comes from, you're better able to deal with it. So then when stuff happens, it's like, I'm just going to go practice it more. If it's process, like I'm just going to go like, I got to figure out what the process is. I don't know what the process is. I still do think outcome performance is tough because it's up and down. Like even in game, it's up and down. And I think if that's where your confidence lies at, ask yourself the question of, is this really what helps me perform the best, or something else going to help me perform the best? Right. And whatever helps you perform the best is like what you should do. Like that's everyone's different.
Just definitely touched on a lot of important things that go into a lot of things that go unseen in like the life of a D1 athlete, because it's a lot, and that stuff that we talked about today I think are like super important building blocks to having the best experience with it possible. Especially through 4 years, 5 hours a day, like every day, it's a lot. So if you can have a good framework and kind of take notes that we talked about today, you'll set yourself up for a more successful journey.
Yeah. Would that change your mind at all about outcome confidence, or you still feel like?
No, for sure. No, I was.
You can disagree with me.
No. It wasn't hard for you to change my mind on that. And I will keep that in mind because now, working man. So the real game starts now, is what they say. So I'm sure I'll draw a lot of parallels between my time on the field, to my time in the real world now. So I wish we had this conversation maybe in like the winter time because as confident and as just kind of built up I was going into senior year, I think I would have used a lot of these points last season, and it would have been good to share with people that might not have the same position that I
think
am.
just like still share it along, because I think it's again like a lot of stuff I talk about athletes are already doing. It just provides like a structure and a concreteness to it. So then it's like, oh, that's where my confidence comes from. I can be more concrete and be like, oh, I'm just gonna go ahead and do this now. Or on the field, if I feel pressure and my emotions are all out of whack, I actually don't know what the hell I focus on. That's problematic. What should I be focusing on? Like, or what do like, and for athletes too, like for a lot of them is like, you're already D1.
Yeah,
Like,
you're here for a reason.
you're here for a reason. You're Division One.
Yep.
And so whatever you're doing clearly works extremely well.
Yep.
But if you can figure out exactly what you're doing, then you'll be able to make changes to that and make adjustments to it, or double down on that, or just have a better, clear focus with that. So I think like these conversations are cool, man, and I appreciate you like being open and honest and everything else.
100%. Yeah,
Appreciate
that was
you,
awesome, man. Thank you.
Cool,
Appreciate it.
cool.